As for the crops, you will agree with me that the idea we were given before, saying that this or that agricultural crop doesn't work in Burkina Faso, is completely wrong. It's false. Everything grows in Burkina. Everything works in Burkina. Ibrahim Traoré just handed out 500 tractors to farmers across Burkina Faso, and it's sending shock waves through the West. But this is only the beginning. This isn't just about helping farmers, it's about breaking free. For years, Africa's food systems and farming relied heavily on Western aid and imports. Now, Traoré is building a future where Africa stands on its own. Western powers are watching their influence fade, and behind the scenes, they're scrambling to respond. Traoré's message is loud and clear: Africa won't beg anymore, it's building its own future. It is not in Burkina Faso that they will come to give crumbs because we are hungry. It is not in Burkina Faso. We should no longer be seen as beggars. It is we who should give to others what we have not finished consuming. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the boss of Burkina Faso, has been doing some serious farming magic. After he officially became the big boss on October 21, 2022, he didn't just sit around sipping tea. Nope. He rolled up his sleeves and launched the Presidential Initiative for Agricultural Production 2023 to 2024, a plan to supercharge farming, fishing, and ranching. It is we who should do that. Applause. So, that is why I say, I invite people to change their mindset. Believe in yourselves. It is possible. There are many challenges. There are many challenges. There are many things to accomplish. And guess what? It's already paying off. In 2023, farming added 16.33% to the country's total money pot. That's the GDP, in case you're wondering. Industry made 29.25%. And in terms of services, they brought in a huge 43.64%. So, in simple terms, farming is doing pretty well, but there's still a lot of other stuff making cash too. And the best part is that we are just getting started. Under Captain Traoré's watch, Burkina Faso's total GDP jumped from $18.8 billion to a whopping $22.1 billion in just 2 years. Pretty cool, right? I mean, who wouldn't want their country's wallet to get fatter? Now let's break it down. Traoré's crew set up 2 tomato processing plants, the first ever in the country. That's why tomato production shot up from 315,000 metric tons in 2022 to 360,000 tons by 2024. Looks like they're really squeezing the ketchup out of those tomatoes. Just now, I discussed with the customary and religious authorities about the case, for example, of water reservoirs. In the Cascades region, there's only one dam, and it is silted up, a dam built since 1962. You need many dams here because the region is rich. But wait, there's more. The government also built a second cotton processing plant, because one just wasn't enough. And to make it even sweeter, they launched the first ever National Support Center for Artisanal Cotton Processing. This means that local farmers get to make more cash, thanks to the government handing out better seeds and tons of farming goodies. Millet farming really took off. In 2022, the country grew 97,000 metric tons of millet. But by 2024, they were rolling in a whopping 1.1 million metric tons. And you'll want to pay close attention to this part. Rice farmers didn't get left behind either. Rice production went from 280,000 tons in 2022 to 326,000 tons in 2024. Looks like everyone's getting a bigger bowl of rice these days. The entire border strip, whether it's the Cascades region or the Southwest region, rains abundantly. There are many waterways. We just left Pura not long ago. We know it's the same type of climate. But it's not just about food, the economy is getting a glow up too, thanks to Traoré and his team who keep showing up with the right tools and support. Whether it's better seeds, more factories, or just plain old hard work, things are looking up for Burkina Faso. For example, in May 2024, President Traoré came through with a truckload of farming gear for the people of Burkina Faso. We are talking about tractors, tillers, motor pumps, fancy plant sprays, vet supplies, and even motorcycles. All this stuff was worth a jaw-dropping 78 billion CFA francs. The president also told the young folks to team up and form cooperatives, because teamwork makes the dream work, and it's the best way to get in on the government's farming goodies. Here's where things take a wild turn, but how many water reservoirs? There are none. We have become aware of this situation. That's why I instructed the minister to first equip Sonater so that it becomes operational, meaning it should have its own machinery capable of developing the lands themselves. We are also in the process of reviving the Minister of Agriculture. Commander Ismail Sambai was so thrilled he practically threw a party. He said the new equipment and supplies would boost production big time and make sure there's enough food for everyone. To keep the farming momentum going, the Livestock Resilience and Competitiveness Project dropped off 120 motorcycles and 206 tons of fodder seeds. And that's not all. The government also brought in over 400 tractors, 239 tillers, 710 motor pumps, and 714 motorcycles. It's like Santa Claus came early, but instead of toys, it's farming gear. But here's the real takeaway from all this: it's about believing in yourself. Captain Traoré didn't wait for handouts from the West. Instead, he took a good look at what Burkina Faso already had and decided to make the most of it. Wait until you hear this part, what was called ONBA, which today we realize there is an absolute necessity to revive. This is the structure that built most of the dams during the revolution. And today, throughout Burkina, when you pass most of the dams you come across, you will be told that it was during the revolution. He straight up told the IMF, World Bank, Europe, and America to keep their loans. Not only that, he even paid back everything Burkina Faso owed them. Next up on Captain Traoré's list was being smart with the country's money and showing some real servant leader vibes. He cut the salaries of ministers and parliament members by 30%, but then he gave the long-suffering civil servants a much-needed 50% raise. Now that's what I call flipping the script. But wait, there's more. Traoré didn't just stop at farming boosts. He also knew that without good roads, all that food would end up squished or spoiled before it even reached the city. So he started building better, safer roads to connect farmers to food factories. Or even before the revolution, certainly after the revolution, a few dams were built. But I think that in every locality where we can create a small water reservoir so that people can produce continuously, we must be able to do it. As for the crops, you will agree with me, and here's the cherry on top, Burkina Faso is investing big in high-tech machines for processing, preserving, and packaging food. So pretty soon, they'll be giving Tanzania a run for its money as the food basket of Africa. Even better, as predicted, extreme poverty is starting to pack its bags and leave, all thanks to strong political leadership and a lot of hard work from the farmers. Turns out Burkina Faso's farming success lines up pretty well with the advice of Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, the head of the African Development Bank. He's all about the Feed Africa strategy, aiming to end hunger and malnutrition by 2025. His idea involves investing in big commercial farms, especially in the countryside. If done right, it'll boost production and make sure no one goes to bed hungry. Now that's a plan worth biting into. The idea we were given before, saying that this or that agricultural crop doesn't work in Burkina Faso, is completely wrong. It's false. Everything grows in Burkina. Everything works in Burkina. Applause. Plus, it's super important to support young business owners and keep a close watch on government money. We've got to make sure the cash meant for farming actually helps farming and doesn't disappear into someone's wallet. And remember Dr. Akinwumi's big idea of massive industrialization? Well, President Traoré is already rolling with that plan in Burkina Faso, turning farms into food factories. Talk about leveling up. At just 36 years old, Captain Ibrahim Traoré is the youngest president in the world. That's way younger than Africa's usual leader age, 63. Things haven't been all smooth sailing for Captain Traoré's government. A few weeks ago, the military government dodged yet another attempted coup. You must commit right now. We are starting the month of May. Clear and prepare your fields. We will support you as much as we can. This year, we must produce to the maximum, and we are counting on you who have fought, you who have done everything to liberate this area. When he first took office, Traoré laid it all out. Burkina Faso was in a tough spot. He talked about big problems with security, defense, healthcare, social programs, and infrastructure, basically the whole checklist of stuff that needs fixing ASAP. And since he took charge, Traoré's popularity has gone through the roof. At President John Mohammed's inauguration in Ghana on January 7, 2025, Traoré got the loudest cheers among 21 African leaders. Talk about stealing the spotlight. This also shows a growing acceptance of military leaders in Africa, especially with the younger crowd cheering them on. Seems like the youth are ready for some new kinds of leadership. But Traoré's popularity isn't just because people are okay with the military in charge, he's actually shaking things up with some bold changes. For example, he rolled back the salary hikes his predecessor gave to government officials. But he's still rocking his old military captain's pay. Talk about leading by example and keeping it real. You who have done everything to liberate this area from terrorist control. We must produce to the maximum. Put everything into action. The district leaders have been instructed to consolidate and ensure that everything goes very well. So this is to tell you that the issue of agriculture is dear to us. Trying to take control of the country's treasures, Traoré went ahead and nationalized 2 gold mines. He also stopped sending unrefined gold to Europe like it was some cheap souvenir. Instead, he opened a national gold refinery that's expected to handle 150 tons a year. Now that's some serious bling business. But it gets even better in this next part. Traoré has also been building a brand new airport. Talk about multitasking. Sure, these are big and bold moves to industrialize Burkina Faso, but let's hope they don't get stuck in the usual quicksand of inefficiency, corruption, and messy management that a lot of African state-owned companies seem to fall into. No one wants a great project turning into a paperwork jungle. For some folks, this is all about Africa taking charge of its own destiny. For the young people, Traoré's government is a shot to prove what they can do when given the chance. But for most everyday Burkinabe, they're just hoping for better roads, food on the table, and a life that's a bit easier. Simple, but important. And the issue of processing is also dear to us. When we start producing the boom, we will immediately think about processing. On the way here, I saw our mothers selling mangoes. Many of them, maybe in 2 or 3 days, if they haven't been able to sell their mangoes, they will rot. With the world getting more uncertain and international aid drying up, Africa really needs to learn how to stand on its own 2 feet and take control of its own stuff. Burkina Faso, like many African countries, is packed with natural resources that could seriously change people's lives, if handled right. They've got plenty of minerals: gold, zinc, copper, manganese, phosphate, and limestone. Plus, there's diamonds, bauxite, nickel, and vanadium just waiting to be put to good use. Most of these treasures are still sitting around untouched. According to the 2023/2024 Human Development Report, Burkina Faso is still facing some tough challenges. It ranks pretty low, 185th out of 193 countries, on the Human Development Index. On the Sustainable Development Goals Index, it's 149th out of 167 countries. And a whopping 64.5% of the people are considered multidimensionally poor. Many are affected by poverty in numerous ways. They are often forced to throw mangoes away, and since independence, this has been the recurring reality. When mango season arrives, if they manage to sell them, fine. If not, the fruit rots, and they are discarded. Why not establish a structure to process these mangoes to prevent such loss? But here's the silver lining: the economy shows real promise. A recent study by the Institute for Security Studies' African Futures and Innovation team predicts that Burkina Faso's economy could grow by around 8% annually from 2025 to 2043. That's like planting a small seed now and watching it grow into a substantial economic tree. What does this growth mean for people? It could add an extra $1,120 per person above current projections and reduce income poverty to just 2.6%. In practical terms, that's about 2.4 million Burkinabe lifted out of poverty by 2043, an impressive step forward. The study further emphasizes that improving governance, running the country more effectively and transparently, is crucial to unlocking further growth. Strong governance could add another $240 per person to the forecast and help an additional 500,000 people escape extreme poverty. This demonstrates that good leadership isn't just about speeches, it yields tangible results. As we travel through various cities, we witness the realities of our people. This should prompt a shift in mindset. I shared this with your deputies, natives of the area who are at the LT. When we journey through the countryside, we must take note of our citizens' lives. Their struggles should leave a lasting impression and inspire efforts to transform those conditions. Everything must be aimed in that direction. It is possible, and we will do everything in our power to achieve it. To make all this possible, Traoré must navigate significant challenges: political instability, violent extremism, and weak institutions. Comprehensive reforms are required to bolster security, ensure accountable leadership, improve public services, and foster inclusive governance. The most urgent issue at present is terrorism, which has seized control of roughly 40% of the country, undermining government authority and forcing the closure of thousands of schools and health centers. According to the UN Refugee Agency, over 2 million people have been displaced, and the number of individuals needing humanitarian aid rose by 35% from 2022 to 2023. These challenges demand swift, decisive action. As we travel through the countryside, we must reflect on the lives of our fellow citizens. That awareness should deeply impact us and reinforce our resolve to change lives for the better. Everything must align with this vision, and it is achievable. In the medium term, the country should transition toward constitutional rule and establish a stable, fair political system. This shift will support political stability, enhance government legitimacy, and stimulate economic growth. It will also increase investor confidence, enabling Burkina Faso to attract the foreign capital needed to expand key industries. Currently, there is a project underway to expand Minova in line with our wheat production efforts. We now understand that it is indeed possible. We do not need to import flour into Burkina Faso because we can produce and process our own wheat. With a young, dynamic leader like Traoré, Burkina Faso has a genuine opportunity to establish sound governance and meet its development goals. If he continues on this path, it could become the lasting legacy that so many hope for. Will Traoré be able to sustain the developments in his nation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to hit the notification bell for more up-to-date news on Traoré. See you in the next video.